Imagine a world map, once covered in thick red lines, trade barriers choking the flow of goods. For years, these lines represented obstacles, slowing down commerce, raising costs, and dividing nations. Every product that crossed a border was subject to scrutiny, delay, and extra expense, making global trade a complex and often frustrating endeavor. Today, January 12, 2026, those lines are vanishing. The barriers that once seemed immovable are dissolving before our eyes, ushering in a new era of possibility and cooperation. The Supreme Court of the United States has struck down the sweeping tariffs enacted during the Trump administration, a decision that will echo across continents and industries. These tariffs, a cornerstone of protectionist policy, reshaped global supply chains and sparked international tensions. Now, they are gone, and the world is bracing for the ripple effects. This is more than a legal decision. It's a seismic event. The ground beneath the global economy has shifted, and everyone is feeling the tremors. Financial markets from New York to Shenzhen are reacting. Investors, analysts, and business leaders are scrambling to understand what this means for the future. For years, businesses and consumers navigated a costly web of import taxes, affecting everything from cars to soda cans. Prices rose, choices shrank, and uncertainty became the norm for families and companies alike. The court's ruling dismantles that web, signaling a return to a more open global economy. It's a moment of relief for many, and a signal that change is possible even after years of division. The implications are vast, touching every corner of our lives. From the food on our tables to the technology in our hands, the effects will be felt by billions. The story of these tariffs is one of economic nationalism and global trade war. It's a tale of competing interests, political posturing, and the struggle to balance domestic priorities with international cooperation. It pitted the U.S. against allies and competitors alike, aiming to protect American industries but triggering retaliation and higher prices. Farmers, manufacturers, and workers all felt the impact, as did consumers around the world. Today's ruling ends not just a policy but an era of economic confrontation. It marks the close of a chapter defined by uncertainty and conflict. The world now holds its breath. Leaders, citizens, and businesses everywhere are watching, waiting to see what comes next. Will this decision heal the divisions of the trade wars, or open new debates about globalization? The questions are many, and the answers are far from clear. Markets have surged with optimism, but the long-term consequences remain uncertain. The excitement is tempered by caution as experts warn that the road ahead may be unpredictable. We stand at a historic crossroads. The choices made now will determine the direction of global trade for a generation. The path from here will shape the global economy for years to come. Every nation, every business, and every individual will play a part in what happens next. This is a moment that demands our attention. The stakes are high, and the world is watching every move. The next chapter is being written right now. The world is watching. And so are we. The dawn of a new era in global trade has arrived, and its story is only just beginning. To truly understand today's headlines and the ongoing economic tensions, we must rewind to the pivotal year of 2018, when the seeds of a global trade conflict were sown. The Trump administration, championing the America First agenda, invoked Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962. This rarely used law allowed the president to impose tariffs on imports, citing national security as the justification. Steel and aluminum imports were the first targets, facing steep tariffs of 25% and 10%, respectively. These measures didn't just hit rivals. Even close allies like Canada and the European Union were affected, straining long-standing partnerships. Critics, including economists and foreign leaders, argued that the national security claim was merely a pretext for protectionism. They warned it violated international trade rules and would provoke swift retaliation from America's trading partners. The conflict quickly escalated, with the U.S. targeting China over alleged intellectual property theft and what it called unfair trade practices. Tensions between the world's two largest economies began to rise sharply. By 2019, tariffs had expanded to cover hundreds of billions of dollars in goods. China responded in kind, imposing its own tariffs that hit American agriculture especially hard, leaving farmers caught in the crossfire. The result was a full-blown trade war, disrupting global supply chains, slowing down shipments, and raising costs for both businesses and consumers across the country. Companies face skyrocketing expenses, with some absorbing heavy losses to stay afloat. While others had no choice, but to pass higher prices on to everyday consumers, fueling economic anxiety. Tariffs quickly became a flashpoint in both domestic politics and international relations, sparking heated debates in Congress and at global summits. Some praised the administration's tough stance as necessary to protect American jobs and industries. Others condemned the damage to alliances, the impact on workers, and the uncertainty it created for the future. This divisive legacy set the stage for a wave of legal challenges, as businesses and advocacy groups questioned the president's authority to impose such sweeping tariffs. The battle over tariffs was about more than just economics. It was a struggle over the rules of power, the limits of executive authority, and the future direction of U.S. trade policy. The fight would soon reach the nation's highest court, where justices would weigh the balance between national security and economic freedom. The stakes were enormous. The outcome would shape the future of American trade policy for years to come, and the ripple effects of this battle would reverberate worldwide, influencing economies, governments, and millions of lives across the globe. The legal fight began in lower courts, led by American businesses arguing the tariffs were unconstitutional. They claimed the president overstepped, as only Congress can levy taxes. Section 232, they argued, gave the executive too much unchecked power. The government countered that Congress had authorized such action for national security. Lower courts were divided, and the case climbed to the Supreme Court American Institute for International Steel versus United States. The core question: does the president have unlimited power to impose tariffs under the guise of national security? Oral arguments revealed deep skepticism about unchecked executive authority. The stage was set for a historic decision. This morning, the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that Section 232 tariffs were an unconstitutional overreach. Chief Justice Roberts wrote, "The power to tax and regulate commerce belongs to Congress. The president cannot wield it without clear limits." The ruling invoked the non-delegation doctrine. Congress cannot hand off core powers without clear guidance. The law itself remains, but the tariffs are invalidated. Congress must be explicit if it wants to grant such authority. Dissenters, led by Justice Gorsuch, warned against judicial interference in national security. The reaction was immediate. Stock markets soared, especially in manufacturing and tech. Wall Street's message was clear: removing tariffs is good for business. Years of uncertainty vanished in a single moment. The economic landscape shifted instantly. The world took notice. A new era had begun. The Supreme Court's decision sent shockwaves worldwide. In Brussels, EU leaders hailed a return to rules-based trade and began lifting retaliatory tariffs. American industries like motorcycles and bourbon expect a boost. In Beijing, officials welcomed the move and signaled openness to new negotiations. Canada and Mexico expressed relief, anticipating stronger North American supply chains. Automakers across the continent expect lower costs. Not everyone cheered. U.S. steelworkers voiced fears of job losses from renewed foreign competition. Lawmakers from industrial states vowed to seek new protections. The ruling reignited the debate over free trade versus protectionism. The world is recalibrating in real time. The immediate winners are American companies relying on imports, automakers, appliance makers, construction firms. Billions in tariff costs are erased, freeing up money for investment and jobs. Domestic steel and aluminum producers, however, face renewed global competition. Their stocks tumbled. For consumers, relief is on the horizon. Lower prices for cars, appliances, even beer. The tariffs had fueled inflation, costing households over $100-200 a year. The broader picture is complex. Some supply chains had shifted away from China, a trend that may now slow or reverse. Companies must rethink sourcing strategies in a changed landscape. Will they return to China or remain cautious? The answers will shape global trade for years. The dust is far from settled. The ruling has upended American politics. The administration welcomes economic relief, but faces pressure from labor and industrial state Democrats for new worker protections. The opposition claims vindication. Former President Trump calls it a betrayal of American workers. Congress is split, with unlikely alliances forming between protectionist Republicans and progressive Democrats. New legislation on presidential trade powers is already being discussed. The ruling sparks debate over the judiciary's role and the balance of power. Supporters see a check on executive overreach. Critics call it judicial activism. The issue will shape future elections and judicial appointments. Trade policy is now a central political battleground. The conversation is just beginning. Experts see both opportunity and risk in the wake of this landmark decision. The future is anything but certain, and opinions are sharply divided. Dr. Amelia Vance of Brookings calls the ruling a shot of adrenaline for the economy. Expect investment and confidence to surge as businesses and investors respond to the new environment. She predicts a wave of innovation and expansion, with companies eager to seize fresh opportunities. But trade lawyer Mark Gittleson warns of tough times ahead for industries losing protection. Without a clear transition plan, job losses could follow, and some communities may face real hardship. He stresses the need for targeted support to help workers adapt. The decision creates a policy vacuum. Congress must act quickly to fill the gap and provide stability. The pressure is on lawmakers to craft effective solutions. Geopolitically, Dr. Evelyn Reed of Georgetown says the U.S. now has leverage to rebuild alliances and confront China with partners. She believes this is a rare chance to reset global relationships and strengthen America's position. The chance exists to replace trade war with a coordinated strategy, working alongside allies to shape the rules of global commerce and promote shared prosperity. Former Senator Alan Simpson notes, "Forging bipartisan trade policy is the trillion-dollar question." He emphasizes that real progress will require compromise and vision from both sides of the aisle. Polarization is high, but new alliances may emerge as lawmakers recognize the stakes. The moment could inspire unexpected cooperation. If Congress acts wisely, it can protect workers, encourage competition, and reassert its authority in shaping America's economic destiny. The court's decision is not an endpoint. It's a starting gun for a new era. The real work begins now, with consequences that will echo for years. The world is watching what America does next, as every move will send ripples across the global stage and influence international markets. The future is up for grabs, and the choices made today will shape tomorrow's world for generations to come. This Supreme Court decision isn't just about economics, it's about the rules that shape your life. It affects the prices you pay, the jobs in your community, and the power balance in government. Trade wars have shown that Washington's choices hit home. This ruling reminds us, big decisions can be challenged and changed. The future of American trade policy is unwritten. Public opinion and political action will shape what comes next. Stay informed, speak up, and hold your representatives accountable. This is a rare moment of transformation. The path forward is uncertain, but you have a voice. The story of global trade's next chapter includes you. Be part of it.